Hi, I'm Alex Archbold, and I've been buying and selling antiques since I was 9 years old. From basements to scrapyards, I'll look just about anywhere I can to find lost antiques and collectibles. And sometimes I'll go big and buy everything. I never know what's going to happen or who I'm going to meet. This is our life, this is our adventure, and this is Curiosity Inc. Well, good morning out there to all of you watching. It is another day, another adventure. It's also 6:55 in the morning. It's bright and early. I'm getting a head start this morning because I'm driving to Calgary, Alberta, which for me, I'm in Edmonton. It's about a 3-hour drive. Why am I going to Calgary? Well, to go get some stuff, of course. This time, it's something a little bit different. I was contacted by a gentleman who is moving away. He is giving me, I don't have to buy anything, he's giving me his entire collection of, I don't even know what. He just said he has about 20 boxes of collectibles he wants to give me. The thing is, he said, if you come get the stuff, I would love to see some of the proceeds go towards helping the Ukrainian refugees. And I think we're going to do a little bit better than that. I think we'll give all the proceeds to Ukrainian refugees. It does mean a 6 hours of driving today. But again, a very good cause. And hopefully the stuff that we end up finding today will be worthwhile and worth the trip. So let's go pick up a bunch of boxes and we'll go through, see what we got, and we'll get ready for an auction and hopefully help some people out on today's episode. Let's go. Well, 3 hours later, and I'm here. Let's go knock on the door and see if anybody's home. Yeah, well, nobody's here yet. He said pretty much everything's in the garage, and they'll be here in about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna hang out in the car and wait. It is a beautiful sunny day today. You wouldn't know there's forest fires everywhere. The smoke is actually blowing down to the United States, causing major problems down there. Well, we have blue skies in our area, so it's actually kind of nice out today. All loaded up. The gentleman who donated all this stuff is standing behind me right now, but is remaining anonymous because he's just a kind, nice dude. So we're gonna load this up, get it back into town, and see what's in the boxes. I'm back at the house, and there is an absolute pile of stuff back here. What's in it? I don't know. I think, though, that I should unload Melissa's car because she might need that back. And then we'll start digging through boxes and see exactly what's gonna go up for auction. I'm excited. Well, everything's offloaded and onto the table. And I will say it is the next morning. We had other stuff we had to do. And it was killing me all last night not knowing what was in these boxes. But today is the day. I guess we'll probably start with the easiest thing here. Oh, it's stuck to the tape a little bit. This looks like a 1960s era Arnold Palmer's indoor golf course. Let's see what this looks like. Well, there's Arnold Palmer. But what's interesting about this is, look, there's a tiny little Arnold Palmer on the end of a golf club, and he hits a tiny little golf ball. It's like having, that's so weird. Okay, I gotta get this out of the plastic. Okay, I think officially this is one of the coolest / weirdest things I've ever seen. You hold this golf club, like Arnold Palmer is doing, and you have an itsy bitsy little Arnold Palmer at the end. And when you squeeze this trigger, look at this. Whoop, you squeeze that trigger, and he hits the golf ball. And line up for the shot, takes it back, and off it goes. So isn't that the cutest and strangest and most kitschy thing you've ever seen? And like I said, I've never seen one of these before. And it's all here. Everything is perfectly maintained. It's got the little foam golf balls, although they're a little flattened out by now. There's all these little clip-on different types of clubs, so you can actually change your club. There's wedges, and he's got a driver on right now, and probably a putter in there somewhere too. It's so cool. There's different types of clubs, so you can try and actually play a little tiny miniature game of golf. It's so neat. I love it. I think it's super cool. I think that's neat. So first item up, I think that's a real winner, you might say. A hole-in-one. Boo! Okay, next up, we have a very early, like a 1950s hockey game. I don't know if the figures are there. It's all wrapped up in plastic, so we'll start to get it out of the bag here. It looks like everything was very well maintained that came out of this gentleman's collection, which is good. Let me get the plastic off and we'll see what we have. Hockey game I was expecting. I was not expecting a taxidermied alligator to be in amongst all this stuff. There's an alligator here, folks. And it was at one time, well, it's real. It's just stuffed. You can see the tail's been broken a little bit, unfortunately. But that is a taxidermied alligator. What the heck? Sure, where are we gonna put it? Let's store it with the hockey game, why not? I guess this probably was a solid surface around the same size, so it was probably keeping it safe, I would say. But what a random thing to come across. On the plus side, though, looks like all the little men are here, and it's a Canadian-themed game. So you've got the Maple Leafs versus the Canadians. Iconic, it even has little... It looks like they use a ball rather than a hockey puck, but it's all there. Have to set that up. I used to love playing hockey like this when I was a kid. These look like they just rotate and spin. It doesn't have the moving pieces like some of the later rod hockey games have. This is a very early one. But again, 1950s, you know, not a whole lot of hockey teams even that time. It likely would have had nets. Maybe not. Maybe that ball would just shoot in there and you'd, you know, pick it out and put it back. Actually, yeah, it looks like that's exactly what it was. There's a little divot there where you'd rest the ball. So it's more like a ball hockey game, but super duper cool. And again, in really good shape. And you have these little figures mounted on there too, just so it looks just right. Look at this. Not a single player was missing. Now, they can be worth a bit more if they actually have the players' names on the back, which these don't. But you can tell that's an early game because, look, there's no mask on that goalie. I mean, there's a lot of other ways you can tell it's an early game, but that is now ready to play. Take on your friends, challenge them. I don't know how many of you at home had a hockey game like this, or maybe a little bit newer. I had a slightly newer one, but yep. Oh, almost a goal right off the bat. Anyway, that's really neat, really good shape, and I'm sure somebody's gonna love that. That's just such a cool piece. Gosh, so far we're 2 for 2 here. Okay, on to the next box. This one is marked train. So I'm thinking there's gonna be a train in here. Oh, hang on, there's a comic book. Oh, maybe not. Maybe there is no train in there, but there's other stuff. Okay, let's bring this over and see what we have. A little stack of old Gold Key comics. We got Chip and Dale, Woody the Woodpecker, Roadrunner. Looks like Mickey Mouse. And Super Goofy. So a little assortment of old comics. Commando War Stories and Pictures. From England, obviously, 28p. And there's some newer things too. Game of Thrones. Little pop vinyl figure. 1961 baseball rules. Playing and scoring. Published by the National Baseball Congress of America in Wichita, Kansas. We've got assortment of old postcards here from, looks like all over the place. Somebody did a lot of traveling. Oh, look, even a Hot Wheel. What's in the bag? Look at the bags from Blockbuster. Heck, that's probably collectible. Oh, look, it was all sports cards in there. These are, I think, 1987 or 88. I can't remember what the big name was this year, but this is getting close to Ken Griffey Jr. Rookie was a year or two after this. But I'll have to check those over and see if maybe there's something that's a little better than just a common. But yeah, that's a little stack of baseball and hockey cards. And that's just before they went super duper commercial. This was right at the cusp of it, where they were still kind of just doing it for kids. And they're a little bit more collectible. And beyond this, they just made a pile of them. Yeah, so this is the 87 year. Recognize it from that wood paneling. There we go, parking plates. This is called a basic wheel Hot Wheel, where it has that sort of hub on it. That's what came after the red line wheels. And it's in its original packaging. It's a Mustang. It's probably from about 1991 or so, something like that. Oh, 89. Well, I was close. I know because that's from around my age of toys. Little front desk kind of bell. Cherished teddies. So some little collectibles mixed in here. Forward March hand-painted metal figures from Corgi. Oh, I've seen these. We used to actually sell these things. These were accessories to kind of go with the die-cast tanks and airplanes and stuff that they made. So they're all little soldiers, really, really detailed and hand-painted. And it's mint in original packaging. Cool. Okay, I looked and apparently that's Barry Bonds' rookie year, which is worth a whole pile of money. Sadly wasn't in there. That would have been pretty awesome though. But, you know, still some cool old baseball cards in good condition. And who knows what else we're going to find in some of these other boxes, like this one, which that looks like, I don't know if it is, but there was a playset called Stompers where you had like little vehicles that would drive over stuff like this. I don't know if that's a Stompers bridge. Might not be. But I do know at the bottom that these are 1950s Marx. And they should say Louis Marx and Company on the bottom. Yes, they do. So we have some World War II soldiers. They also made Western figures, cowboys. It looks like he's been shot in the arm. He's not happy about it. He's aggressively giving somebody the middle finger. It's been bent up. Oh no, that's an arrow. He's got an arrow he's holding that's in his arm sticking out. He's unhappy about that. That'd make more sense. And what do we have at the bottom? More figures. Oh look. These are like, it still has the original packaging. It definitely is made to look like the G.I. Joe kind of logo, but it's a ripoff. It's just plastic figures. But these are all old school plastic 1950s, 1960s sort of Marx figures. Germans, Americans, cowboys, and so forth. That's a neat lot. Gosh, where do I go next? Let's have a look in this box. We have a couple more postcards. Drumstick pencils. Princess Diana stamps. The Royal Wedding, 1981. Wow, there are people who collect that stuff. And then it looks like we have some old Japanese stickers. It's in Japanese, but those are probably from the 1980s, and that stuff's actually very popular right now. We got Harry Potter, still in the packaging. We got the original Furby, or a Furby. Oh, that's probably not the original one. Let's see. It's another little, oh, that's a really detailed soldier, probably like a Britain's, is it Britain's? No, Del Prado. Officer Kellerman's Hussars, 1805. Wow, that is in, it's super heavy too. Skeleton Warriors. That looks like a Dungeons and Dragons thing. Warhammer. And we've got those cool stickers, drumstick pencils. We've got some magazines. The Men's File. And a brochure for Victory motorcycles and Indian motorcycles. Looks like somebody was thinking about maybe getting a motorcycle at one point. Maybe they did. Lost in Space, the Robinson family. Oh, it's a whole little figure set. They're all like tiny little plastic figures. It's the whole Robinson family from Lost in Space. That's neat. And gosh, that, you know what's funny is that green marbling paper, I'm going to bring this over, is pretty much identical to what Rolex has for when they package stuff. I don't think that's what this is. No, it is not. It is these airplane cards, which are kind of neat on their own. But if you ever see like a box that looks kind of like that, sometimes it's Rolex inside and you go, ooh, fancy watch stuff. And even a Rolex box can be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars on its own, which is crazy, but true. In fact, a lot of this stuff, you know, you might be looking at just over $100 or so on the game. Same thing on the Arnold Palmer. I don't know what that's worth, but I would expect around $100 at an auction. So it's starting to kind of add up. And the goal here, of course, is try and find, and I have to separate these things out and put everything through auction so we can raise some money for our refugee friends. But so far, I'm finding all kinds of neat stuff to resell. And we will do this auction sale coming up fairly soon. My goal here today is to try and see what there is and get it inventoried for sale. And hopefully we'll have a nice little surprise. I'm not even going to tell them I'm doing this until after everything's gone and said and done. Actually, I was putting the lid back on, but it's fairly complete. The only thing missing, which is what you'd expect to be missing, and that's the flash bulbs, or somebody's used them over the years. But other than that, everything else is there. And there are people who are still shooting with Hawkeye outfits like this. This is probably like maybe a $40 to $60 little set. Has the original box. Somebody would like that on their shelf. Another box. So what do we have? Looks like comic books. Dick Tracy Weekly. Well, that's not the original. It's from 1988. And I remember that it had a big resurgence around that time. They had the Dick Tracy movie that came out with Madonna in that. This is all Dick Tracy comics. None of them terribly... Well, I mean, they're from the 80s, but... And then some bigger ones, too. I used to think Dick Tracy was pretty cool. I wanted to have that watch. And now, actually, they have the Apple Watch, which does all the things the Dick Tracy watch does. And more. Which goes to show that sometimes if you dream it, even in a cartoon or a comic, it can come to life. Think about all the stuff that people had in Star Trek that, you know, is now a reality. As for this box, I mean, I don't know if it doesn't seem to be in order, but it looks like it's maybe or possibly a set. And they all look like they are in plastic, so well protected, good condition, probably very near to mint condition. So that will probably be an easy thing to find a buyer for. We'll probably separate these out into lots of 5 or 10 and put them out that way. But that's a cool little box right there. And moving right along. Okay, this one I don't even need to take out of the box. Well, actually, I should probably look and see if that's what's in it. But it says it's a Plasma FX light. And yeah, that is what's in there. And it looks like it's in really great shape. Still in the styrofoam and everything. You know, when you want to make your hair stand up and have your fingertips zapped a little bit, that's what you'd use. Okay, I am going to dig into this box a little bit here. Looks like the tape's kind of wrapped around the corner. Ooh, really on there. There we go. There we go. Oh. You know, it occurs to me after I take the tape off that this box lid would have just slid off. Oh, well. But now that I have it open, I can see it is full of Hallmark keepsake ornaments. A lot of trains. A lot of trains. There's locomotives. It looks like it's all the Lionel series. You could decorate your entire tree with nothing but tiny little trains if you wanted to. There must be close to 100 of these things in here. And you've got the Blue Comet, and you've got the tender for the Blue Comet. That goes together. Boy. And I know these things weren't necessarily cheap either. They were probably like, you know, 15, 20 bucks a piece, even when they were new or close to that. And this is going back to the 1980s. This one's from 1988. There's a bigger one right here. It's the whole Lionelville. It's the whole set with magic motion and sound. I wonder if the train goes around the track. That is super neat. So somebody, well, I know who, but he was collecting all of these trains and ornaments. Oh, look, there's a really big, I guess maybe there's not as many of these, but there is a really big one in here. It's like a Christmas Village electric train shop. Neato. Well, I think that's cool. Somebody else will too, I'm sure of it. All right. He says I talk. It's more like he roars. Some Star Wars. When you see one of these coming, instantly hollow out your nearest pet and crawl inside, because that's what Luke does. Oh, look. Luchador masks. Oh my gosh. This is a quirky collection of stuff. It's got the laces on the back and everything. You could run around the house as your famous Mexican wrestler and just start pile driving off the sofa onto your siblings. I could get a kid in some trouble. Oh, we've got some train stuff. I don't know what this is. It's like a fancy little case, and there's a bunch of tissue in here. Maybe that's all it is just a case, because I don't think anything's inside here. Just a little display case. But there are Lionel Trainmaster. That was actually a really expensive system. If you had the Lionel Trainmaster set up, that was pricey. These are all train controllers, which leads me to believe that I might find there's a lot of Lionel stuff. Maybe there will actually be some Lionel trains here. Who knows? We have controllers for trains anyway. All right. Well, that explains why this box was so heavy. It is magazines. And we've got Ultimate Guide to Star Wars. He liked a lot of the same stuff I like. He's into wristwatches. I was really into Star Wars when I was a kid. There's sports cards. This could very well be like my own personal stuff. This is exactly the type of stuff that I'd be into. History of the Second World War. Oh, I see. And it is basically a whole bunch of vintage magazines that have been bound together. Looks like they're from maybe the 70s, judging by the way they're printed. It's probably a date on the inside of one of these. Should be anyway. Maybe not. Maybe there's no date, but I'm guessing that's probably from the 1970s. There's a whole collection of those in there too. And I started cracking open this bag because I could see it looks like there's a lot of Beatles stuff in here. So we've got the Beatles musical pop-up book. Oh, that's almost terrifying. It looks like they swivel around. Oh yeah, the Pete Best on the drums there. Prior to Ringo. Well, at least he made a pop-up book. And there's Ringo now. Ticket to Ride. What does this do? Let's see if I pull this pull tab. Oh, I see the dog's coming to bite Ringo. He's lifting his leg up. And they just seem like they're kind of okay with it. Oh, it's not a problem. Hey, Paul. He's like, anybody else see this dog here? He's going after my ankle. That's not how Ringo sounded. But in this, it's how it was. Oi, who's going to take care of this bloody dog then, eh? Not this guy. He's just over here trying to keep all the fans out of the room. Oh my gosh. I'm just a big kid. You guys don't know that by now. Well, this is kind of cool, actually. That's a really neat little pop-up book. It seems like this is the whole collection of Beatles stuff. You got the Delphi Beatles plate, and their appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show, it looks like. We have... oh, I thought this was the actual album, but it's actually a tin sign. Sgt. Pepper's pressed tin sign. It's embossed, too. And this is the... insert. Oh no, this is just an illustrated record of Beatles. But this is probably from when the Beatles were still around. Oh no, first edition 1975. So they were out of the picture by then, but not long after. Cool, nice old Beatles book. So lots of neat Beatles stuff, memorabilia and books. Lots of Beatles fans out there. Oh, and look. Even the original Beatles pins. And these are from the 1960s. Made in Canada, so these are the Canadian-made fan club pins. And you got the whole set. John, Paul, George, and Ringo. All right in there. Right on! On to another box. We have, looks like some military pants. And these don't look like your typical sort of Canadian pattern. Hang on, where are these from? I think they're Deutsch. They look German. Feuchter Ringelei. Whatever that says, 1997, it's not that old. Look, it's made of 80% bum wool. That's the best kind of wool you can have, is the bum wool. So this must be like German military surplus. So you got, looks like a couple pairs of pants there. And then some more books. What do we have? A Salute to the Canucks by King Richard's Army. Na na na, hey, kiss him goodbye. Kelly's, heck, my dad used to work at Kelly's way back when. Frankenstein, Dracula, and Werewolf sounds. We've got Power Records. Follow the fantastic exploits of your favorite TV and comic book heroes on Power Records. Superman. Another Superman. Well, these are kind of cool. Shazam. Wonder Woman. Those are all nifty. What else we got going on here? Okay, let me take those out and set these aside. Set those up there for now. Just get them out of the way. Looks like, okay, some Life magazine on the World War II. Comics? Yep. The Dreamery. And more of these little records. This looks like one of those kids' spy kit things. Is that what it is? No, Blade Runner. Oh, it's the Blade Runner Final Cut Ridley Scott Special Edition numbered DVD set. Limited to 103,000. That doesn't seem that limited, I'll be honest. Folks, we've only made one for every human being who might want one. That's not all that limited, but it's still pretty neat. Pretty nifty. And then we've got these, looks like sealed boxed book sets. Oh, I see. It's propaganda, operational maps, personal letters. It's all replica stuff from the war. So these are sort of like little collage sort of sets, I guess. Wow, nifty. All right, where are we gonna go? Some of this stuff was sitting on top of an old printmaker's block drawer, which I decided to keep because people actually hang those on the wall and you can put collectibles in them. I know it sounds weird, but people do stuff. You recycle, you upcycle, you do things. See, I think I went through this one already. Yeah, it was a luchador mask. There's a big trunk here too, a big military trunk, which I still have to get to. Let's see, where is the edge of this tape? Incidentally, this is a lot of fun even just going through this stuff. The real work will begin once I start getting everything hauled over to the auction house. But, there we go, I think I got the edge there. This looks like it was from a Shell gas station, that box. Probably somebody who collects gas station stuff would be mad at me for ripping that box, but it's not that old. Let's see. Well, that's a plate stand, probably for that plate. What does it say on the back of it? Let's see here. H.J. Wood Company, Burslem, England, hand painted. Well, that's kind of neat, actually. It's kind of awesome. And I even have a plate hanger for it, too, so it must have been on somebody's wall at some point. SunCloud, what's this? Oh, looks like some toy parts. You got some girl missing her arms. Oh, there's a bucket of arms in there, a bucket of arms. Some vintage looking painted figure sets. A wizard. Is it a puppet? No, I don't think... Is he a puppet? Yeah, he's a puppet. He's a wizard puppet. I foresee many valuables in your near future. Oh yeah, there they are right there. Okay, enough of that. I used to love giving puppet shows to my kids. I'd put on little productions and plays for them all the time when they were little. That's right, you did. But we have a very nice condition Tonka truck in the bottom here. I see these look like Indian sword sets. We've got some lead soldiers. Lots of Britain's figures in here. They say Britain's right on the bottom. Lots of little soldiers. There's a fake Swiss Army knife. A bunch of tiny little figures. Well, there's knives. But look, you got to dig right to the bottom of the box. You find there's these little pins. Look, there's another Beatles pin just lying right on the bottom. Put that up there. I can put it with the other Beatles stuff. So I'm going to really have to dig through all of this. Oh, look, there's even a little old toy car down in there. Made in Hong Kong. Looks like a little Mustang. That looks like one of those pilot's wings that they give kids. Fireball zoom. No, that's something different. It looked like when you used to get on an airplane, the pilot would oftentimes give the children when they got on the plane a little set of pilot's wings like that. And people do collect those. Tonka looks good. And that's the Tonka set that would have had the motorcycle in the back. Little tiny toy train set in this case. All right. I guess I've got these two boxes and the big case left to go. Well, surprisingly, something like this could be quite valuable. These 1980s sort of Takara kits like this can be worth hundreds of dollars. I will look this one up and see if I can find an exact price for it, but especially if it's unbuilt, I guess I should open the box and have a look. Okay, it was built, which is okay, it's there, but look, there's other stuff too. That's from the marionette show, what was it? Captain Scarlet, I think, maybe? Thunderbirds. And a whole bunch of G.I. Joe cards from the 80s. So more than what I bargained for in with this, but the figure itself is in there, which is good, although it's been painted. Still pretty neat. It's a 1950s Disney, that's Pluto, I think. And we've got a Gumby and Pokey in the bag there. The original little Gumby and Pokey, little outboard boat motor, lots of DVDs on World War II, and we've got a tin. Feels like coins in there. Oh, it's not coins. It's Star Wars buttons. And they look like they're maybe from, well, there are all kinds of buttons in here. Star Tours at Disneyland. Expo buttons, Dracula. Pinback buttons are so cool, especially when they're Star Wars. Oh, here we go, World War II patches. And this feels like there's something underneath here. Slide that out and have a look. Maybe not, maybe it's nothing. It did feel like something was in there. It was just a piece of cardboard, but still. Lots of neat stuff in these boxes. Oh, some funky looking glasses. A little die-cast metal airplane, Mitsubishi Zero. Okay, second last box. I hope you guys have been having fun going through all this. I sure have. RCA. So you got a military battalion sort of pillow there. It's not RCF, Royal Canadian Air Force, Royal Canadian Army. Oh, it's artillery. I should know because it has a picture of a cannon on it, and artillery is usually got the cannon. Royal Canadian Artillery. Had a moment there. Oh, look! There's railway locks. Canadian National Railway. And these are railway keys. These are train car keys. People who collect railway stuff really love this stuff. This would have been, in fact, a lot of times these keys still actually work. If you ever were at like a heritage village kind of thing and found an old boxcar or train car, these keys would probably still work in them if you're up in Canada. That looks like the type of key for this lock right there. And there's another one right here. Canadian Pacific Railway. So we got a CPR and a CNR. We've got some binoculars in the leather case. All kinds of neat stuff. Another Hallmark ornament, and this is of the Beatles. Oh gosh, my dad would have loved that. He would have had that hanging from the tree, all of them. Okay. We've got some railway brochures, some magazines. Unfortunately, not a whole lot of value in magazines, but we've got some books on the railway, and we've got some records. With all this, wow, okay, we've got Orson Welles' War of the Worlds. That's kind of neat. He actually got in big trouble for doing that radio show. People thought it was really happening because they presented it like it was a news broadcast. People were freaking out, thinking aliens were invading. Terry and the Pirates. Charlie Chan. So some of these are like cartoons and stuff. Flintstones. I would have thought there would have been Beatles, but actually sometimes this type of stuff is a lot more unique and rare. 1972. The Amazing Spider-Man. Please tell me he's not singing. A rock and roll comic adventure. A comic? So that's got to be something different. I can only imagine what that sounds like. It's probably exactly what you think it sounds like. I want to investigate that one a bit more. Anything Spider-Man is super collectible right now. Tom Jones. Weird assortment of albums. It's like Wizard of Oz and Tom Jones and stuff all mixed in. Okay, different, unusual, kind of neat. Now the last but not least, we have this giant case which says send to the base commander at the Currie Barracks in Calgary, which I don't think the Currie Barracks are even around anymore. We're gonna crack that open and see what's inside. Okay, let's see what we've got. Some newspapers. Last Spike Times. And more postcards. A ton of postcards inside this bag. And the older the postcards, the better. Let's see what we have in here. And these are early. These are from our mountains. This would go back to probably the teens or 20s, probably. Early Lake Louise. There's a Banff Springs Hotel. Stony Creek Bridge. Some good local stuff in my area anyway. There's lots of people who collect Canadian-related postcards like that. Oh, that's a tin sign. The Art of the Motorcycle, so it's a close-up of an Excelsior engine. Big book on World War II. A big wall chart. Oh, there's a camera. It's another one of those Japanese model kits. Bandai. And this one looks like it is unbuilt. Ingram Patrol Labor. Doesn't look like they're digging ditches or doing much labor. It looks like they've designed themselves. If you're a robot that big, why do you feel like you need to still have a pistol? Isn't it enough that you're the size of a skyscraper? Do you need to actually get a gun too? That just seems like overkill. Okay. What's in the Turtles box? Stamps. There's a stamp collection. Canada. Oh, I saw one flitter out down here. Okay, a little stamp collection. really is just a little bit of everything. Posters. Actually, I'd be surprised if there wasn't a Star Wars poster. Let's see, 66 Ford Mustang model kit. And is it in there? I don't know, let's find out. Yep. Unbuilt Mustang model kit, probably from the 1980s. What is this? 6 chilling hours on cassette, and they put it in this little sort of tin that looks like an old radio. That's actually kind of neat. Metacom Audio Publishing Group. Well, I can honestly say I've never seen this little set before, but it's cool. We have a little 1912 Henderson motorcycle model kit. It's been unbuilt. Oh, these are lights out of train signal lanterns. A lot of times you find the lanterns and they're missing the lenses. I said lights, I meant to say lenses. But those are extra lenses. We've got some big Star Wars collector comics from the 70s, including issue number 2 and 3. Don't see issue number 1, but Terminator 2 magazine. He's back. Well, he said he'd be back. That shouldn't have been a surprise or a headline. He's back with an exclamation mark. Yeah, that was kind of his catchphrase. He said it the whole movie. I'll be back. What do we have here? Giant classic King Kong comics. Actually, there's a few of these in here. So we've got King Kong, Rudolph, All-Star Comics, and a replica of the first Superman. And posters. Is it, what, another one of these? The Shadow, Sherlock Holmes, Green Hornet on cassette. 2 of those sets. Oh, there's several cameras in here. The Zeiss Icon, that's not actually a bad camera. Zeiss lens are really good. A little brownie, and I see this. I had robotics when I was a kid. These were pretty fun toys. You put them together and you can build a walking robot or vehicle or whatever you want to do. A kit like this would have come out when I was a child, and I'm now a grown child. 1985, yep. That would have been prime era for me, being interested in that. We've got some Beatles books. Boy, there's an awful lot of Beatles stuff. And we've got posters. This is a movie poster. The Lost Planet one sheet. Could you imagine if it was the original Lost Planet? Actually, it might be. The originals were folded like this. It's got the inventory sort of number. Holy cow, I think these are actual original sci-fi movie posters. That is super cool. What do we have here? 12 to the Moon. I guess I better have a second look at all these posters because that's Star Wars right there. Never dismiss the stuff that's buried at the bottom of a pile because it might be something really cool. Return of the Jedi. The movie everyone's been waiting for. This is when it came out on, what, VHS? It's an original advertisement for the Star Wars release on VHS. Some Star Wars fans gonna want that. In fact, I visited a Star Wars collector in my area here. I wonder if he'd be interested in it. There's so much cool stuff. I mean, every time I unroll a poster, okay, that's the Beatles. There's just neat stuff everywhere. Oh, look, I think there is a album at the bottom. Sgt. Pepper's. Those were wax figures of the Beatles that they used on that cover. It's not actually the Beatles, but that's just the cover. There's no record inside. movie stills, magazines. Wow, just a ton of cool stuff. Well, this is a pretty cool collection of stuff, and hopefully it'll bring in a good dollar for our refugee friends. I've got to get myself busy right now and start getting all this stuff inventoried, off to the auction house and ready to sell. I'll give an update either on the YouTube channel when we do a live stream or on Facebook and let you guys know how the sale did and what we're able to accomplish from it. But to the gentleman who shall remain anonymous, thank you so much for the kind gift of all this stuff for me to work with and try and get some money off to some folks who could really use a lift up. So I'm back to work, guys. I got all this stuff to inventory, sort, and put away, but some really cool treasures, and I think honestly it'll be a good sale. If I put out this video hopefully before the auction happens, it'll be at kauctions.ca, Kastner Auctions. Stay tuned to my Facebook or to the YouTube here, and I'll post a link once that auction goes live. But guys, I got a lot of work ahead of me. I'll get back to it, but for now, that was a lot of fun. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see y'all soon, and as always, bye for now.